Hello. Thank you for inviting me, and it's my honor to be sharing my experiences of building music streaming app using React Native. So a little bit about me. My name is Dulmandakh. I'm from Mongolia, and I'm React Native core contributor. As Mike told just now, I just made my 100th commit. On top of that, I would like to encourage you guys to contribute to React Native because if I can do it, you all can do it because sometimes it involves changing some version numbers in there and adding some annotations. I help. I usually try to keep Android tools updated for React Native open source, like SDK, NDK. I also try to, if I have experienced an issue on using React Native, I try to resolve it, and I build support for default source for image component, and then I try help to land Android X. So many people ask, why do you do that? I do that because I got tired of having issues for my projects, and I tired to maintaining patches for myself. So instead, I thought, it's just great to contribute to upstream, and problem go away for me and for others too. You can do it too. So you can follow me on Twitter on Dulmandak_en, because without _en, I like to shitposts in Mongolian that you don't understand anything about. So back in Mongolia, we found kind of market fit for local music streaming platform and service. And we tried to kind of find and license some kind of ready-made solution to build a service, but we couldn't find one. So decided to build one, And we are about to finish developing the platform and launching the service very soon. By platform, I mean it's kind of backend service which process and ingest metadata received from music vendors using industry standard DDX format, and then we encode and encrypt audio files so it can be stolen, And we provide GraphQL API access to all of that. And on the client side, we built web application using React.js for sure, and mobile application for Android and iOS using React Native. So people ask, why React Native? Why not, native? And I can say it's because of that, When we were starting, I had kind of hard experience finding good native developers and hire them. And I was looking for ways to share code between Android and iOS. And I thought that it would be help us build better software and move fast. So Mike's talk was so inspiring, I could literally copy paste in every code, and made it work. But going further was kind of hard because we didn't even know anything about JS, React Native, and Android and iOS. So we had to start from scratch. But result was so stunning, We could build every UI. It's a nice experience using React and JavaScript without a single line of native code. And we could build more than 50 screens And even prototype player events like that. Yeah, no native code involved. So with React Native, we could do more with less, and with more, I mean more code sharing, like every UI and every business logic is implemented in JavaScript, and move faster and do more iterations, and we could do more features. With less, I mean with less lines of code and less number of developers, for sure, in short time, and for sure in less budget. But to deliver good music listening experience, you have to go beyond React Native, because music and audio is so different, and it requires no eye attention to consume it, unlike images or videos. You can be browsing in the internet while you listen to some audio or music, or you can be like control and playback from the control center, or notification bar on Android, or maybe your screen might be locked and you could still control your music playback. Beyond the UI user interfaces, you have to handle remote interfaces like headsets, car audios, and Bluetooth devices. You should be showing like what track is playing on car audio, and you should be like able to control playback from the core audio. Also, you should be like handling a lot of interruptions. You can't be playing music while someone is making a call, And you should be like playing something while the user wants to watch or listen to another thing. And you should be like continue playing music while the user unplugs the headset. On top of that, you have unexpected interruptions like network connectivity, and what makes so difficult implementing music playback is kind of like requirements from content vendors. They require you to encrypt the content, protect from piracy using DRM. The DRM technology, and it requires a license for every playback. So, what makes more difficult is what she said before me. It's offline content and offline playback. So we got like user interface and basic user interactions in React Native without the line of native code. So we defined our strategy to be like do more in React and less in native realm. So our basic architecture looked like that. We have React and the native module and the player, and player will interact with the native UIs like control center and lock screens. And we could implement like very basic native interactions without even player code. Like it was just a plain native module that will receive some function calls from the React realm and then send events back to the React. So the problem was, where should we keep, what is the source of the truth, and where is the state of, where should we keeping the state, and how should we keep them in sync. In Mike's presentation, he kept the music queue in the React realm, and he accessed and player accessed, React, JS realm during the playback. But it wasn't working for us because on Android you can't run JavaScript when the app is in the background. So we decided that player should be a source of truth and the state, because we have so many things on the native side, because players are still developed in the native side, and we to show track information on lock screen, control center, and other interfaces, we had to pass everything we know about the track to native realm. And the basic API for the player manager looks like this. Because set queue will set the queue with all the tracks, and play track will get an track ID, and for sure. And then you have and then you can get the player states using the get methods like get progress and get QE and get state, get track. But also you can subscribe to events like progress change, QE change, track change, and state change. So it was easier to do that. But also we've implemented some native UI components. Could you please identify them in that screen? What do you think? How many native UI components are there? Custom ones? 5? No? No idea. Because it's so difficult to distinguish between native UI components and the React. The first one is there. The second one is there. Third one, fourth one, fifth, and sixth. We only have 6 custom native UI components we built. Oh. So the reason we built these components was kind of when the track changes, you have to show that the red indicator. To do that, you have to kind of send an event from the native side to the React, and to do that, you will serialize and cross the bridge, and then on the JS side, you receive the event and you have to process it, And it was kind of interfering with the business logic. The most thing, the thing that interested most was that the progress bar and the slider, it's sending an event every second, then it's receiving an event every second and processing in JS. It's kind of added some kind of bottleneck. On top of that, with the very little native UI component, we could deliver very nice user experience. It works so smoothly. So how cool is that? Oh. So we had kind of this architecture, and then we made it to be like that. because we didn't want to bother sending an events through the bridge every time something changes. And it worked quite well. I would like to show some code, and it looks like that. It's a player indicator. We just control whether if we're showing it or not from the native side. Other stylings are made in React Native side, what will be the height, what will be the width, and and the progress bar is too same, I want to do more React and less native. So as Chit mentioned about the doing offline content is kind of hard, because to provide kind of like decent offline content experience, you have to do many things, like downloading images, downloading audio file and DRM license, and you have to store metadata, and to mark something successful, you have to check everything. So, same as with the player, we started with the same architecture. And there's a kind of oh, it's taking longer. Yeah. At the first time implementing everything on using the native module seemed easier, but it got complicated when you download many things. Some albums consists of single track or a few tracks. Maybe in case of classical music, you have hundreds of tracks, and you have to keep the state syncing between the native realm and the React realm is kind of so hard. You should be diffing what to send, what's the change, what's in the React realm, you have to check many things. And then, we decided, no, we can't do that. So we made a native UI component for that button. You can click it, and you see the green dot there, and it's a native UI component too. But in the case of that green button, it's just the same, It decides whether if I should show something, what's the color, and does nothing more, We decide from the React what is the height, what is the width, whether it should circle or square. We decided from React side. Wouldn't be easy that if that was all. And also the thing was, before people talked about many times, we had to cross the bridge only if necessary, and cross it with the minimal payload. To deliver this experience, we had to implement pagination in the native module, so you can loading continuously while the list is rendering. Otherwise, we didn't realize it until someone downloaded thousands of tracks. It's like when you go to the tracks list, it's just stuck and then got everything, while the user is seeing only tens or things. So we've got the same architecture. Like, instead of trying to keep in sync JS realm with the native world, we just implemented the native UI component that keeps sync what is shown only on the screen. So, yeah, it was quite a journey for me, and I found that React Native loves native, and we've been hearing a lot on this stage, like UI TV and Mac OS and Windows support. And what I learned was start small. You can only start with React and cross the bridge only if required and with less payload. Please use dedicated thread or dispatch queue for native modules, because it's usually feels better. And use tools and libraries from React Native, like Fresco, OKHTTP, or Yoga Kit when you are developing native things. Use modern languages like Kotlin or Swift. It feels so natural, and it's easier to do things. And what's more important is the platform, actually. Initially, I thought it's kind of different beast, and I had to deal with some kind of, I don't know. But it was just a native platform, how native platform renders views. It's just it. And you had to know how to do the concurrency to not interfere with React JavaScript thread and main threads. So you had to know threads, coroutines, dispatch queues, or operations queues. So, guys, thank you for your attention, and thank you for our organizers. Today I've been here, I learned a lot. So I hope you learned something from my presentation, and thank you.
Jeżeli się nie pomyli, ten kabel jest pracował na fali